think it's, having gone into insurtech as an industry sector, we really felt encouraged by the opportunity in the space. It just is booming. I think what's key is for what we can bring, and we're absolutely happy to just have random chats with people. We don't have to be paid for every bit of advice we give. In fact, both of us are probably a bit too, keen on giving advice. So that,
well, that's a trailer anyway.
You can have that for free. Yeah, exactly. But it's hugely time consuming, raising capital. And I think that you can't get distracted. Your core business, and I think what made you guys successful at the end of the day is the fact you stuck to your core business, just building your business, not trying to raise your capital. So if we can help people, members of InsurTech UK, then we would be much better off, I believe.
So I'm interested, you said that the company you spoke to yesterday aren't the things that make someone not ready for a capital raise. So what are the things that people have that kind of make you go, no, they're not ready yet, or they shouldn't be doing it?
It can be anything from a cap table that needs sorting out, a regulatory issue that's outstanding, that needs, that especially in the insurtech space, you see that sometimes, where, on a review, on a sort of regulatory review, it turns out there actually can be some issues which absolutely need to be sorted out before. So that's the kind of thing. I mean, also, if you're working towards a capital raise, you've got to make sure that you've got milestones where you are validating things that are meaningful since your last raise, assuming you've had a raise before. You've got to stage it and work towards that towards that point. So in a sense, what I would say is the earlier you can engage with an advisor, the better, even if it's on an informal basis. They can just give you some guidance. So even if you're doing, say, a capital raise in a year's time or whatever, just to give you that sort of, and I don't think I think you'll find advisors are happy to kind of provide informal advice just to keep you on that, or get you on that straight and narrow, and ensure that there are no red flags.
Yeah, one of our clients, we'd been talking to for 2 years before we finally got engaged with them, or mandated to actually raise money for them. And it took 2 years, not because they took that long to get ready, but they took that long to get to the point where they felt that they wanted to start talking about it. So I think, people should not assume that raising money is a simple exercise. It's a process, and it's a process down to your core strategy, because your strategy needs to take into account your capital structure. And so that's one of the things that we really pay a lot of attention to. What is your capital structure? How are you going to go about it? Another client of ours, unfortunately, ended up having a down round, and that wasn't at all popular and made it very, very difficult raise, because you can imagine the shareholders want to see their price increasing every year. But there's another thing that I think that's worth mentioning at this stage. It's a favorite story of mine. During a due diligence a few years ago, the company looking at my client, which later became I was a partner in it, was Silver Lakes. And many of you would know Silver Lakes, huge US private equity group, who had just bought Skype. Partner concerned, how on earth did you pay what you paid for Skype? I mean, I thought that eBay was mad, and you guys go and buy it, at an even higher price. And he said, you know what? I know who I'm going to sell it to. 2 years later, ching ching, Microsoft was there with the money. And I think that this talks to the whole story. Don't just think of the fundraise as an exercise by itself. It's part of a coherent strategy right the way through, including and especially the exit. Because if your partner that comes in has got an exit in mind, especially as an entrepreneur, you're hopefully going to be there for the ride.